Good morning, and welcome to Movement and Meditation. My name is Patton White, and I am the Artistic and Administrative Director at Beacon Dance, and we are headquartered in the B Complex in the southwest part of Atlanta in a neighborhood called Capitol View. And this morning we are going to be continuing our work in somatic practices, and specifically, I wanted to just share a little bit before we get started with our movement this morning. A lot of the information that I'm referencing in this session, in this ongoing session, I should say, is the work of Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen, who developed a methodology that she calls body-mind centering. And I just wanted to read a little bit of from her book called Sensing, Feeling, and Action. And what she says is body-mind centering is an ongoing experiential journey into the alive and changing territory of the body. The explorer is the mind, that is our thoughts, feelings, energy, soul, and spirit. And through this journey, we are led to an understanding of how the mind is expressed through the body in movement. Then she goes on to say, there is something in nature that forms patterns. We, as part of nature, also form patterns. And the mind is like the wind and the body like the sand. If you want to know how the wind is blowing, you can look at the sand. And with that, we are going to embark on the focus for this week, which is the nervous system. And she talks about the nervous system in the following way. She says, the nervous system is the major electrical governing system of the body and is closely aligned with the endocrine system. It receives information and gives information to all the cells in the body. It coordinates this information in specific control or relay centers throughout the body, the spinal cord, and the brain. The nervous system underlies alertness and thought and gives precision to our coordination. This system establishes, this system establishes the perceptual base from which we view and interact with our internal and external worlds. And then she further goes on to say, in a chapter on the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, and she says, she talks about the autonomic, the autonomic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system, and just goes on in a whole lot more detail than we're going to try to address today. But all of that just to say, to underlie for our purposes in this, in today's session, in this week's session, that we're really going to be focusing on how this idea of patterns and how we can begin to find or explore the mind of the nervous system through trying to develop new patterns of movement for ourselves. So, with that, we are going to get started. All right, so I put on a little bit of music, and we are going to do some of the movement today seated and some of it standing. I'm going to scoot back just a little bit further. And we're going to start, or I'm starting seated. Again, I invite you to start either standing or seated as you are willing and able. But we're going to think of firmly grounding, if you're seated, our sits bones in the chair or the stool or the seat, whatever you're seated on. If you're standing, firmly grounded in the feet. And we're going to take our attention to the top of the head, and we're going to begin to just circle. So this is something, if you've been following along for a while, I often start with is circling. Now let's reverse the circle, reverse it to a different way. So if you have been following along, then this has become a pattern that you've become very familiar with. And let's stop there, and now just releasing the head forward and back. And like we're doing a big yes. Again, this is something that is familiar to us, probably in a variety of settings. And let's come back to the center. And now let's twist in the top of the spine with the head shaking in sort of a no indication. And now let's come back to the center again. And now we're going to release the head directly in our side plane, that plane that bisects the body through the center, front, back. We call the coronal plane, and we're just thinking of releasing the ear towards the shoulder. So right now I'm releasing my left ear towards my left shoulder, and my right side, the trapezius muscle itself, is stretching out. And I'm going to come back up to the center and fall to the other side. This time feeling the left trapezius stretching. And coming back up. And let's go back once more to the left, stretching out on the right side. Breathing in as we do this. And exhaling. Let's do one more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll bring the head back up to the center. And now let's inhale as we collapse to the opposite side. And exhale. And again, inhale. And exhale, we bring the head back up to the center. So, now we're going to begin this process of challenging ourselves a little bit. So I'm going to start to develop a pattern made up of some of these elements. So just as a reminder, we have the head circling one direction, the other direction. We have forward and backwards. Then we have side to side, and then we have collapsing side to side, also in that side to side plane. So here we go. Let's give this a try. So we have circle and circle. So two circles coming back to the center. Then we have one release forward. We have head coming up and back. And then we have twist side and side and then tilt side and side. Once again, we have circle and circle, forward and back, twist and release and release. And now let's do the opposite of that in terms of what direction we're starting. So with my first circling, I was going in, if you were looking down on the top of my head, it would be a counterclockwise direction. Now I'm going to go clockwise and 2, and then forward and back. This time looking opposite side, so right, then left, then ear to shoulder, then ear to shoulder. Again, circling, 2, forward, back, twist, twist, ear, ear, and we come back to the center. So now we're going to put all of this together. So we have the first side starting circling in a counterclockwise. Head drops forward, back, head looks left, head looks right, head releases left, releases right. And now clockwise and 2, and forward and back, and twist right, twist left, head fall, head fall. Let's do that one more time. Listening to our little tempo of music that we have going on in our background. Here we go. 5, 6, 7, and 1, and 2. Release. Look up. Left, right, ear left, ear right, and opposite, and 2. Forward, back, right, left, ear left, sorry, right, left, and back to the center. So we did that fairly quickly, and I would invite you on your own time as you kind of visit this. You can always come back and see these recordings that are archived on YouTube Live, but to keep trying in a slow manner to get that new pattern that we just developed into your body, allowing the nervous system to form some of these new associations. And then begin to work up with a little faster speed. So now we're going to take our attention to the shoulders, and we're going to circle and circle. 3 and 4, and now let's reverse the circling. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now elbows, be drawing big circles through space. 3 and 4, and reverse, and 2 and 3 and 4, extending the arms. 1 big circle with the left arm, 1 big circle with the right arm. Again, left and right, and now reaching back and coming up and over, and right, and left, and right. And now both arms, big circle, all the way around, and again, forwards, up, back, down, and now reverse this. And again. And then just let the shoulders shake out. So let's revisit this little pattern that we've again developed. And And then we'll tweak it just a little bit. So we have circling, just the shoulders, 2 and 3 and 4. So I'm speeding us up a little bit. And now reversing the direction of the circling. 2 and 3 and 4. And now elbows drawing big circles in space. 2 and 3 and 4. And reversing the direction. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Extending the arms and alternating left and right. If you can't get your arm to reach all the way up in space, then just as far as you possibly can go. Might be a little bit lower. Coming forward, 3 and 4. And now both arms, 2. We slow our pacing down a little bit. 3, 4, and again 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and reverse. 1 and 2, 3, 4, again 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do you remember what we did at the very end? Yes, we just did a little shake. Up and down, bouncing. We were playing with our fluid states a while back, and this is our synovial joint fluid state, loose, rubbery, shaking. Okay, now we're going to play with this and see how we can manipulate that material into a pattern that that will be a little bit more challenging for us. So let's start off with circling. 1 and 2 and reversing. 3 and 4. Then 1 circle with the elbows, reverse, extend, and down. Then we have 1 and 2, coming 3 and 4, and then ending 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, bouncing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's give this another try. Listening to our music this time, just going to try to let you really hear it and try not to talk too much, but let's really start to feel the connection. Let the body start to feel through the nervous system the connection between our movement pattern and the music, the timing, the rhythm that we're starting to develop. Here we go. And one direction and then the other. And let's rest now for a moment and just for yourself, do just a little internal scan. what for you may have been a little bit challenging in that, or what was easy, what was facile. And then let's think a second about why those things may have either been challenging or easy. So the first thing that was different, of course, that time was that I was not actually speaking through the entire movement sequence. And so I was not providing that layer of the cueing, of the cueing that we develop through our nervous system that creates these new patterns for us to play with. As a dancer over many years, that's one of the ways that I have developed for myself a way of remembering the choreography. So there have been very long dances that I've had to remember what is the sequence of the movement from the very beginning until the very end. And one of the tools that I use is that each of my movements becomes a nervous system cue for the next movement that's supposed to come sequentially after that. So let's do this one more time, and we're just going to pay attention to, just notice whatever you're going to notice. It doesn't matter what. Do this without any sort of judgment whatsoever. So no thoughts of, oh, this is impossible, or this is hard, or whatever. Just have fun and see what happens. We are going to change one thing with it, though, and instead of starting with the left arm circling when we get to that part, I'm going to shift to the right arm circling. Everything else stays the same. So here we go. And also, I'm going to take that back. The other thing that's changing is our music tempo is now a little bit faster. That doesn't mean we have to speed up. It's just going to provide a little bit of a different type of background information for us. So here we go. Again, I'm not going to talk us through. You can follow me by watching, but just see what you remember from one movement to the next. Here we go. Here's the change. That's the only little thing that's going to change. All right, how'd we do? I bet you did pretty well, but we're going to go ahead and move on. So I'm going to go ahead and shift to standing for this next section. And we're going to begin to shift our attention a little bit down in the body. So far we've been isolating in the head. We've been kind of moving down from the top of the spine down. We've gotten to the arms, the top of the rib cage, the thoracic region of the spine. Now we're going to move into our lumbar part of the spine. And we're just going to do some hip circles to start to, and if you, again, you can be doing this seated as well. Modify this for yourself however you feel like you need to if you're seated. And shifting our direction. So changing from going one direction to the other. And let's go back to the first direction one more time. And 2, and 3, and 4, and reverse 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Now we're going to return to the first direction, 1, and 2, and then reverse 1, and 2, and then 1, and 1, and 1, and 1. Okay, so we've just developed a new little pattern or sequence of movement. Simple hip circles, my hands on my waist. And we're going to be more specific now with what the pattern is going to be for this next time we do it. So we have 4 circles, first one direction, 4 circles the opposite direction, so just 4 once, then 2, and then 2 times 1. So here we go. We'll talk it through one more time, and then we'll try it without the words. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and reversing our direction now, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Now we go into 2s, 1, and 2, and reverse 1, and 2. Now 1s, we go 1, and 1, and we do that 2 times, 1, and 1. All right, let's revisit this same pattern. Shake out the arms for a second. And this time we're going to do this one with no words. So just doing it. See what happens. Here we go. 6, 7, 8. And begin. Changing the direction. And coming back to our center. Good. How'd we do? I was giving little bits of clues throughout that with just saying and, which took us to being able to be aware of when I was just changing direction. So I was giving a little bit of a helpful hint in that respect. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do one last little thing today, and we're going to be working in our cross-lateral realm, so reaching across the body, thinking of our connection between the limb on one side and the upper limb on one side, so my right arm in this case, left leg in this case, and again this is something that you can modify to do if you're seated, but I'm going to reach cross towards my left foot, but reaching high. Left foot reaches just straight out in front and then coming back. And then left arm reaches towards the side on my right foot. Right foot is just reaching, stepping forward, and then I come back. So really the arm is the only thing that's really crossing the body, that center line of the body. Let's just look at this piecemeal. So we have tapping out, or putting the left foot out, then the right foot out and back. Left foot and right foot. And I'm not really fully transferring my weight onto that foot. I'm just placing it out in front of my other foot. And then with the opposite arm, I'm doing this. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Again, 1 and 2. So arms high. Now we're going to take it down to a medium level. And 2, 3 and 4. Now low. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Let's do that whole thing one more time. 1 and 2. So 4 with the arms reaching high. 4 reaching medium, mid-level. 3 and 4 and 4 reaching low. And 2 and 3 and 4. All right. We are actually just about out of time, and so I'm going to come back up here. We're going to revisit all of this movement on Friday, and it will be filtered through the story circle that we're going to have this coming Wednesday. Wednesday. The story circle is an opportunity for us to talk, to share stories, first of all, about some aspect of how this information has played out in our lives in the past, and then to use the ideas and the themes that crop up with that intentionally as we revisit the movement on Friday, and try to find that connection in a more tangible or obvious way. So if you want to join, I certainly hope that you will, but if you can join us for our story circle, email me at Patton, P-A-T-T-O-N, at beacondance, beacondance.org. And I will send you the Zoom link to join in for the story circle. Lasts about an hour, and we start at 11 o'clock on Wednesday, 11 a.m. And and then come back on Friday and see how that information informs what we've been doing today. We'll be playing with all these patterns, and then we're going to probably add on just a little bit more. Thanks again to the Fulton County Board of Commissioners for funding this program. Thank you to the individual contributors who also help fund this program. And thank you to you for joining me today. And we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day today. And I hopefully look forward to seeing you on Wednesday or on Friday. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.